Hi, my name is Tom Hadding. I'm the author and the creator of a new YouTube channel dedicated to songwriting. So today we're looking at the Beatles and we're looking episode 1 at their songwriting and their sound. So this is John Lennon and Paul McCartney. John on the left and McCartney on the right. So we're going to look firstly at their collaborations and the impact on their music. So the collaboration between John Lennon and Paul McCartney was key in shaping the Beatles' music. They inspired and challenged each other, leading to creative growth and innovation. We know that McCartney retells tales about sagging off school and to go to one of their homes, either McCartney's home or Lennon's home, to write songs. In Liverpool, they tend to use the verb sagging off school, whereas in most of England, they tend to use the verb skiving off school, which is interesting linguistically, I think. Now, McCartney had great advantages over Lennon initially because McCartney's father was a professional band leader and a good pianist. So McCartney's compositional skills encouraged Lennon to also compose. They worked on songs together, with one member providing a verse or a chorus and the other contributing a contrasting bridge. You can see this in the two classic Beatles songs, Michelle and We Can Work It Out. Let's just take an aside and look at Lennon's linguistic genius now. He wrote 2 songs. One is called There's a Place and the other is called In My Life. But of course, There's a Place includes the line There's a Place, and In My Life includes the words There Are Places. And I would challenge you, can you find another songwriter who has written 2 different songs where the line is differentiated just by number? So place is a singular noun, places is a plural noun. Also, let's have a look at another song, This Boy. Now, he uses 2 examples of demonstrative articles, this and that. Can you think of another songwriter that has written a song which uses both this and that? I think it will be difficult to find it. Now, the collaborative dynamic extended beyond songwriting. George Martin was a pivotal member of their team. He was their producer, and he played a significant role in guiding their arrangements and song structure, particularly in the early stages of their career. Martin was a graduate of the Guildhall School of Music. He was an accomplished pianist, but also an oboe player. And anecdotally, he learnt oboe by taking private lessons from one of the professors of music at the school, Jane Asher's mother. Of course, Jane Asher was Paul McCartney's early girlfriend during the early 60s in London. So Martin helped shape their songs into polished and commercially viable tracks. We can think of Please Please Me, the original song written by Lennon was a very slow Roy Orbison type treatment of the song, and Martin quickened it up, added a lot of speed, tempo. But he also facilitated the exploration of new sounds and techniques, such as incorporating session musicians, arranging intricate instrumental parts. For instance, he suggested the use of a piano in Love Me Do, and he arranged a guitar solo for Michelle, pushing the band to try new things. But the Beatles' collaborative spirit also extended to their performance practices. They developed their vocal harmonies and instrumental interplay by covering a wide range of artists, drawing inspiration from sources like Elvis Presley, the Everly Brothers, Carl Perkins, and Chuck Berry. Now, this process of emulation and synthesis helped them develop a distinct sound while honing their performance skills. Their live performances in Hamburg, often backing other artists, were crucial in solidifying their ensemble playing and developing a professional edge. Their early covers are significant not just for their influence on the band's sound, but also for their innovative arrangements that often surpass the originals. This suggests a deep engagement with diverse musical styles and an ability to adapt and improve upon them. Now, there was a shift in the nature of the collaboration as the band matured. In the early days, Lennon and McCartney wrote more closely together. However, as they progressed, they started composing more independently, leading to more distinct individual styles. This shift can often be observed in the contrasting lyrical themes and musical approaches in Rubber Soul, marking a move towards individual artistic expression within the band. Now, original sources will tell us that there was a competitive element in their collaborations. They pushed each other to innovate and excel. While they often shared ideas and inspired each other, there was also a sense of friendly rivalry that spurred them to experiment and to refine their craft. This dynamic contributed to their rapid musical development and their ability to constantly evolve their sound. So in essence, the Beatles' musical journey was shaped by a complex web of collaborations. Firstly, their internal partnerships. Secondly, their relationship with their producer. And thirdly, their interaction with the music of their influences all contributed to their prolific and groundbreaking output. So this open and collaborative approach allowed them to absorb, adapt, and transcend their influences, creating a musical legacy that continues to resonate today. Influences on the Beatles' songwriting and sound. Well, the Beatles' songwriting and sound were influenced by a wide range of genres and artists, including skiffle. They were great admirers of Lonnie Donegan, a British skiffle player. Early rock and roll, they were great admirers of Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley. Blues, Lennon in particular was a great admirer of the American singer-songwriter Doc Pomus. They were admirers of the American folk singer Bob Dylan. The Beatles were also great admirers of the country and western singer Hank Williams. But maybe the most influential early artist was Motown's Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson is generally considered to be one of the world's truly great songwriters. There are many that would place him as the finest songwriter of the 20th century. Certainly he was very influential in the development of ideas and musical styles of the Beatles. Lennon, McCartney and Harrison all spoke glowingly of the role that Smokey Robinson had played in their life. Now, many musicologists have had a detailed look at these influences and how they evolved throughout the band's career. So the influences included skiffle, rock and roll, and the search for a unique sound. The Beatles' early sound was heavily influenced by skiffle and early rock and roll artists like Holly, Presley, Berry and Richard. Now, these influences can be seen in the band's early compositions. Now, if you go to the early compositions, you'll find that there are a lot of simple 12-bar blues forms songs. There are lots of four-square phrases. There are diatonic and pentatonic components. However, even in their early years, the Beatles were consciously searching for a unique sound, both stylistically and timbrally. Now, this desire to be different led them to explore a wide range of musical influences and to experiment with new sounds and techniques. Learning from the covers, the Beatles' extensive experience as a cover band played a crucial role in their development as songwriters and musicians. By covering hundreds of songs by other artists, they learned how to play and sing, how to arrange songs, and how to develop their own musical language and techniques. They were great admirers of the great songwriters of their period. They were very aware of the genius writers that were writing out of the Brill building in New York. They covered many of their songs, Carole King, Jerry Goffin, etc., etc. Now, their apprenticeship period allowed them to hone their skills and to develop a deep understanding of different musical styles, which they would later draw upon in their own songwriting. Now, what about their vocal harmonies and their arrangements? Well, the Beatles' distinctive vocal harmonies were inspired by groups like the Everly Brothers, I think primarily, but also the Perkins Brothers. George Harrison in particular was a great admirer of Carl Perkins. Perkins was also a very good guitarist. These influences can be heard in the close, often parallel harmonies of Lennon and McCartney, which became a hallmark of the band's sound. It wasn't just the Beatles who copied the Everly Brothers, also Simon and Garfunkel often retold their admiration of the early Everly hits. The Beatles also learned from the Coasters. They covered a fair number of Coasters songs, developing techniques for arranging solo and backing vocals that created interesting contrasts and textures. So this is a truncated picture of the Coasters. These are the three Perkins brothers. This is Lennon and McCartney in the middle here. Now, the influence of George Martin. George played a significant role in shaping the Beatles' sounds and songwriting. He provided guidance on strong structure, arrangement and production techniques, helping the band to refine their ideas and to create more polished and sophisticated recordings. Martin's classical music background also brought a new level of musicality to the Beatles' work, encouraging them to experiment with more complex harmonies and arrangements. So the evolution of sound and experimentation. As the Beatles gained experience and confidence, their sound continued to evolve, becoming more complex and experimental. They began to incorporate new instruments. They incorporated electric pianos, 12-string guitars, sitars, as well as electronic effects and studio techniques. This experimentation led to the creation of new and innovative sounds, marking a shift from the more straightforward rock and roll of their early years. The Beatles' lyrics also matured over time, moving beyond the simple love songs of their early period to explore more complex themes. Now, Lennon's songwriting is typified by his powerful sense of introspection, and his introspection can be seen in his more reflective and personal songwriting, which began to emerge in songs like I'm a Loser. This shift towards more meaningful lyrics reflected the band's growing maturity and their desire to create music that spoke to the social and political issues of the day. In conclusion, the Beatles' songwriting and sound were influenced and were shaped by a diverse range of influences, which they absorbed and transformed into their own unique and innovative style. Their willingness to experiment and to push the boundaries of popular music helped to revolutionize the genre and to establish the band as one of the most influential musical bands of all time. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.